And a very warm welcome here to the Barony Hall at the University of Strathclyde today. One of the jewels in the crown of our real estate, and most importantly, the location for us to convert our fantastic graduands into Strathclyde graduates. And we'll be seeing that over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. And what a wonderful morning that we have. For those of you that haven't been in the city before, even at this time of the year, the weather is always like this in Glasgow. Sunny, dry, bright. So do come back as tourists, come back to the university and join us. And also, great appreciation to all of you for joining with us and observing the 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. Very important that we show appropriate respect for those who have served our country in the ultimate way. I will have the privilege, as it happens on Sunday morning, to take the salute of around 600 OTC students from Strathclyde University, Glasgow, and the other West of Scotland universities, where we feel very well connected to what they intend to do in their future careers, not least of which serving their country. So thank you for all of that. And in every graduation ceremony, the great celebration are our graduands, but occasionally we have an additional treat, and this morning is one of those days where we also acknowledge the contributions and achievements of outstanding individuals in their fields. And today is one of those days where we welcome a great friend, Chris van der Kuyl, about whom you'll hear a little bit more shortly, one of Scotland's leading and high-profile entrepreneurs, and a very fitting graduation ceremony for Chris to receive his honorary degree from Strathclyde here for our world-class Strathclyde Business School graduands. So with all of that, much to look forward to. Please enjoy the celebration, and I now declare this congregation formally open, and I will invite Professor Eleanor Shaw to introduce our honorary graduate. Thank you.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you Chris van der Kuyl. Graduates, friends, families and colleagues, I'm delighted to introduce Chris to all of you. Today we are celebrating the class of 2016. This is your day. Many congratulations to you and your families. You've earned your degree and the right to stand proud as a graduate of the University of Strathclyde. You now join a strong family of over 154,000 alumni, and as you take the next steps in your personal development and your careers, you can continue to put useful learning into practice. As a leading international technological university, inspired by its founding mission to make a positive difference to the lives of its students, to society and to the world, the University of Strathclyde rightly acknowledges the outstanding contributions which others, sharing this vision, have made to the Scottish economy and society. Recipients of this award are inspirational individuals and role models for Strathclyde students, alumni, staff, and the wider community. This is particularly true in the case of today's recipient, Chris van der Kuyl. Today, we acknowledge the outstanding contributions which Chris has made by championing Scotland as a global leader in digital technology. Chris's contributions are, however, broader than this. He is committed to Scotland, and as founding chair of Entrepreneurial Scotland, he is committed to working with talented entrepreneurs across Scotland and globally to inspire, connect, and develop entrepreneurial behaviour in all of Scotland's people. Ultimately, Chris's vision is to make Scotland the most entrepreneurial nation in the world. Particularly in this year of innovation, architecture and design, this award is extremely apt. It recognises Chris's outstanding entrepreneurial vision, his innovative approach to business and technology, and his strong leadership of entrepreneurial ventures. Chris is joined today by his wife Heather, mum Marlon, and her partner Donald. I'm pleased to welcome you all, and I hope you enjoy the day. A particularly proud day for Marlon, made even more special because it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Marlon. Chris, I think you'll like this next bit. Despite his youth, Chris van der Kuyl is an entrepreneur with extensive experience of entrepreneurial ventures at all stages, from startup to growth and to large market-listed businesses. He is a globally renowned entrepreneurial leader within the technology, media and entertainment sectors. When Chris founded 4J Studios in 2005, he may not have anticipated quite the impact which 4J would have in identifying Scotland as a global force in digital technology. Under Chris's leadership, 4J Studios has become one of the UK's most successful video game developers. Many of you in the audience will be aware of Minecraft. I certainly am. Through my son, who spends hours playing Minecraft, I have learned what a sandbox game is. I've been introduced how to dig or to mine for 3D blocks, and I've watched as these are then used to build or craft all types of imaginative virtual landscapes, terrains, and environments. Minecraft is a global phenomenon. It is a multi-award-winning game which, thanks to 4J Studios, has enormous reach given the variety of different platforms over which 4J have made the game available. As of June this year, over 106 million copies had been sold across all platforms, making Minecraft the best-selling PC game to date and on track to becoming the most successful video game of all time. Outside of 4J Studios, Chris has many other achievements. He was elected as one of the youngest fellows of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, and he has been convener of their Young People's Committee. He sits on numerous boards, including TV17, Bright Solid, Scottish Institute for Enterprise, Scottish Edge, Information Ventures, Dundee Science Centre, Dundee Museums Trust, and the High School of Dundee, to name but a few. Over his career, Chris has displayed ambition, boldness, and innovation, important values which are shared by the University of Strathclyde, and values which today's class of 2016 are encouraged to embrace and to demonstrate throughout your careers. It is with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, that with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Chris van der Kuyl the degree of Doctor of Business Administration honoris causa.
I create you Doctor of Business Administration honoris causa. We're very proud to have you associated with us, Chris. Well done and welcome to the Strathclyde family.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, my Lords, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the honour that has just been conferred on me by the University, and thank you so much to all you graduates today for sharing your incredibly special graduation ceremony with me. I, as was said, somebody who's very, very passionate about Scotland, about Scottish business, and about entrepreneurial spirit and activity everywhere. And something that I say in many speeches that I give, but it feels incredibly apt this week, this year, with the sort of world events that are unfolding around us. Something I always reflect on is that the period of time you're living in today, that you're graduating in, is a time like no other. There's never been a time where faster change in our society has occurred. And that's not just in reference to technology, it's in reference to everything around us. But the thing I'd like you to reflect on is the fact that this will be the slowest pace of change you'll ever experience again. So it's the fastest you've ever experienced, but it's the slowest you'll ever experience again. And a big driver of that is the technological landscape around us. You know, for many, many years, us that work in the technology field have been responsible for incredible innovation and pace of innovation, and the exponential increase in that innovation has not faltered one iota. And that's beginning to have huge, huge impact on our society in many ways. And I'm not going to say any more about the political nature of change in our society, other than to say you should also look at the reasoning behind that in terms of technological change, the disruption in society, and the fact that we need to find a way to bring everyone along with us, as well as those of us that have got this incredible opportunity through our educational background, through where we've been born, through the societies that we live in. You know, we are very, very fortunate, but we need to look at ways that we can continue to improve and create opportunities for everyone, because leaving anyone behind, I think, will have its ramifications and implications, and we're seeing some of that today. I'd encourage you, those of you that are graduating today, to go and buy a book today. Go on Amazon, go and look for it. And it's a book, it's not particularly well known, by a young Scotsman who's, I think he's 29 now, called William MacAskill. And William's from Glasgow. He was, you know, a very, very bright school pupil and managed to get entrance to Cambridge and then first degree there and second degree at Oxford. He's now at 29 years old, an associate professor of philosophy in Oxford University. He also spends a lot of time in the US. And he's written a book called Doing Good Better. And it's really, you know, for his generation, for the millennial generation, for your generation, it's a real Bible to say, what do I do now? How do I move forward in my career? What values do I have? What values and impact can I make on the world? And it's an amazing book, and I'll not give you a summary too much of it here, other than to say, please spend a day reading it. It doesn't take too long. But it's brilliant, brilliantly researched. I'm not saying I agree with absolutely every conclusion he comes to, but what he does principally is he says, I'm going to apply good science and data to how I can make things better in the world. What job should I take? What charities should I give to? How much money should I give to charities? Do charities work? Is there a better way to do it? And he brilliantly uses data to analyse every element of that. And we do live in a world now where data, because of computing power, data is a primary source for all of us to start evaluating things we never thought we could before. In the world of video games that I inhabit some of the time, you know, we use data every single day to decide what goes on into Minecraft next. We look at Twitter. You know, we look to see what things are being requested by people. We look to, you know, they'll say certain things, but what are they actually doing? We've got telemetry. We measure, if you play Minecraft, you'll learn this now. We measure every single click in every single game of Minecraft, and it's multiple billions per day. Multiple billions of data points that we build into our models to make our decisions. Now, that's not to say creativity is not important, inspiration is not important. Of course they are. But what we can do now is we can absolutely inform our creativity and our decision-making in a way that we never could before. The opportunities in front of all of you are genuinely endless. One of the businesses that was mentioned in the speech, TV Squared, that I'm chairman of, we're completely reinventing how people measure the effectiveness of television and advertising on television. People told us it couldn't be done. Frankly, 5 years ago, before Amazon had allowed cloud internet services to be available to everybody, really, we couldn't have done it. But suddenly we had all this power at our fingertips, and we thought, what can we do? Well, one of the things we can do is we can ask data questions that we never could before. And we got answers back that blew the roof off the, you know, received wisdom. Received wisdom has now effectively been thrown in the bin, and we're reinventing things. And that's happening in every field of human endeavour right now. And most places you will find that no one is keeping up. No one is keeping up with the pace of change. Not the people who measure polls, you know, not the people who are you know, out there deciding what you should watch in the media. They're way behind the generation that's coming through, built on things like YouTube, you know, internet, social media. And what that does for every single one of you is create opportunities that have never been seen before. And this is the entrepreneurial spirit part that I'd like to leave you with today. Oftentimes people have said to us with Entrepreneurial Scotland, well, you're really shooting for the moon, but without a rocket. How can you possibly say Scotland will become the most entrepreneurial society in the world? I said, well, it's quite simple. If everyone starts questioning the status quo, if everyone starts questioning why they did things the way they did them yesterday, and why don't we do them differently today, if everyone takes responsibility for the difference that they can make, then Scotland will become very rapidly one of the most entrepreneurial societies, if not the most entrepreneurial society in the world. It's absolutely achievable. And I think to every single one of you, whether you stay in Scotland, whether you leave the environment of Strathclyde in Scotland, go to the four corners of the world and hopefully come back again, constantly ask yourself the question, what can I do differently? What can I do better? If I decide to go into teaching or civil service or a public service, I can be entrepreneurial. I can challenge the status quo. I can look at the technological revolution around us and think, how can I use that in what I want to do? And one thing William McCaskill writes in his book, often people will stand up where I am today and say to you, don't be railroaded into a single career, follow your passion. Whatever it is you're passionate about, just go do it. And that's great, that's a good philosophy. But it's not always incredibly realistic. Sometimes your passion may not end up being the career you thought it was. What he says is a variation on that. He said, keep trying things until you find out what it is you're passionate about. Because you may not know today. You may be a little bit directionless in terms of, well, I've done all this education now, I don't quite know what to do now. Go try things. There is no single career for life now, and that's not a bad thing. It's just changed. The 21st century, we're only at the beginning of it. It brings us opportunities like no one has ever seen before. When we look back, or future generations look back at the 20th century, it'll seem like a bit of a bookend. A bookend of the Industrial Revolution and the start of the Information and Knowledge Revolution. You've been equipped by your time here at Strathclyde to have every tool in your toolkit to thrive and be incredibly successful as part of this next phase of this revolution. The one thing I'd ask you is to have that holistic view that says, yep, I can do well for myself, I can become wealthy if that's a goal of mine and do it, but look at this doing good better. Look at how you can holistically contribute to the society we live in. If you do that, you'll look back towards a later point in your career and thank yourself for taking a position that's giving you huge fulfillment in life. And you've done absolutely the right thing coming here, because now you've got the toolkit, the ability to learn how to learn, which you will never leave behind for the rest of your life. So please go forward from here, take every opportunity that's given to you, and help us all drive for an incredible world that's entrepreneurial, that's fair, that's healthy, and creates an environment for everyone to thrive in. Thank you very much.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Brian James Bonish. Corey Michael Brown. Martin Buckrill. Darren Luke Carr. Kelly Pugh Ting Chin. Dean Cooper. Jamie David Cummings. Michelle De Beer. Apurva Shailesh Deshpande. Stephen Fowl. Paul Gianacchini. Kirill Gorbachev. Nicholas Gora. Steve John Granger. Jeremy John Herbert. Ionut Iosifescu Enescu. Claire Jackson. Catherine Elizabeth James. Syed Junaid Hussain. Tarek Irabi Katab. Divya Raghavi Kilambi. Reto Collar. Georg Langlotz. Douglas Latta. Heather Christine Lawrence. Tim Lawrence. Lim Chi Irene. Peter Luthi. Ryan Alexander Leiden. Thomas McAlinden. Cameron Duncan Mackenzie. Siddharth Mandakaluthar Siva Subramanyam. Christopher Mantus. Gavin Marley. Arndt Milish Bussard. Catherine Moser Shear. Nicholas Mulhall. Kareshma Naidu. Alessandro Nicchio. Tobias Panna. Jacqueline Powell. Ross Rattray. Saduf Riaz. Colin John Robinson. Mohammed Mustafa Hafez Salam. Edward Dennis Shaw. Sasha Sieber. Simon Mark Smith. David Edward Speedy. Owen David Sudlow. Patrick Redmond Taggart. Ian Keith Tuff. Andrew Alexander Urquhart. Divya Vij. Dan Webb. Ian Gary Whaley. Sam White. Wong Yu Ming. Craig Ronald Worsley. Mohammed Abd Al Wahab. Ali Asad Ali Abu Bakr. Mohammed Junaid Akhtar. Yusuf Musalam Al Araimi. Walid Kahur Fadil Al Balushi. Mohammed Fuad Al Haddad. Amar Saud Hamed Omer Al Inai. Furaiha Said Saleh Al Hinai. Shihab Habib Shihab Al Lawati. Salman Al Mahdi. Dina Al Maimani. Riham Ibrahim Al Taha. Hamad Al Wahibi. Maram Abdullah Al Zajali. Sama Ahmed Al Zaharani. Sumith Suresh Badranavar. Alexander Bobrishev. Ross Harvey Buchanan. Sarath Chandrasekaran Nair. Haitham Chehab. Chun Leong Chao. Joanne Cook. Joe Dugan. Matthew Draper. Amal Ibrahim. Mohammed Hilal Eldib. Suvit Fungsatit. Eliton Cosmo Goncalves. Mark Graves. Damien Richard Hersey. Lee Daniel Holland. Russell McBride Jensen. Antu Joseph. Fatima Ahmed Abdullah Kamal. Dmitry Kasyanov. Christopher Ramsey Kay. Roy Conniser. Christopher Langtenya. Alessandro Lauria. Derek Law. Lu Chi Yi. Loka Oi Ling Elaine. Lindewi Linda Mangena. Ramanathan Meyapan. Yukihiro Nakama. Ohud Mohammed Hassan Nasib. Maureen Noor. Cora Gunnar Oyen. Ramanujam Parvati Tamotaran. Giovanni Peroni. Claudia Premoli. Mohammed Abdullah Radhi. Anand Kumar Ranganathan Iyer. Mud Maher Shahada. Sat Prakash Sharma. Eric Tobin. Ngok Tam Truong. Ping Wang. Siu Ki Raymond Yong. Yun Leong Yu. Zhao Yu Zhang. Khalid Walid Zubari. Khalid Jan Mohammed Al Balushi. Abdul Rahman Said Abdullah Al Blushi. Ahmed Salom Said Ablushi. Saleh Kaufan Said Al-Harti. Ali Abdul Saib Al-Musa. Ahmed Al-Musawa. Yusuf Mohammed Al-Naimi. Fadia Mohammed Said Al-Rawahi. Nasser Hassan Al-Kutani bin Amro. Jamal Jamil Bukhari. Khalil Ibrahim Yusuf Fatil. Shuichi Ichinari. Stephen Sibbald. For the degree of Master of Science in Business and Management, Mahmouda Akhtar Chowdhury. Natalie Cohen. Indrajit Ulhas Holsakar. Sana Hakwa. Yu Chuan Shu. Aditya Kaushal. Divyank Kare. Naina Kini. William Anthony Labate. Ying Lai. Liu Jia Jun. Himanshu Pravin Lodha. Mark Ian Logan. Dong Min Mai. Archita Nanda. Christopher Cicluna. Pradipti Seth. Shen Wei Che. Viswanathan Sundarajan Jagannathan. Wang Yuan Ji. In international management, Aga Ahmed Ali. Mirabel Emil Javoke Akpaka. Christian Ruben Arevalo Rayogotso. Umar Alvi Faiz. Tushar Garg. Muhammad Haris. Hu Yan Yi. Hendrik Ketteler. Ashutosh Kumar. Rohan Kundupura Radhakrishnan. Bo Liang. Melina Katarina Anna Mospawa. Nuralaina Binti Nadziri. Eleonore Owens. Mohammed Manzoor Kadir. And Shaniwaz Islam Rakib. Rajat Sad. Sajil Dhiren Shah. Calliope Souli. Suchanard Suksud Praselt. Wei Tang. Leah Ann Tomlinson. Shashank Sunil Udupa. Adamu Yarima Ngama. Li Yao Zhu. In project management and innovation, May Momad Al Sharif. Diaz Adiputra Arnan. Iniobong Ibanga Ekong. Amoraj Gilbert. Jonu Joy. Ekundayo Olamide Oluwasamni. Akwal Sooner.
The strong, intimate relationships we have with our honorary graduates. Chris just pointed out to me that I had lipstick on my left cheek. That could have been a disaster, but fortunately my wife is in the front row, so she knows how I came by that. And it wasn't Chris. Anyway, Chris, thank you very much for that. Got me out of a tight spot. But let us move to our concluding part of the ceremony, ladies and gentlemen, by having me reiterate our warm welcome to this very important ceremony, a day that none of you will forget. It marks a successful conclusion following years of hard work. And now you've graduated in front of your proud parents, your families, and your colleagues. And you should have the satisfaction now that you're beginning the next stage of your lives with an excellent education and a first-class student experience. And of course, your very own Strathclyde degree, which is a valuable passport for the next stage in your careers. And today we welcome friends and colleagues from all over the UK and of course from all over the world, and we are delighted to have you here to join in our celebrations. Strathclyde is a plural, open and welcoming place. Occasionally the world more recently hasn't felt it properly embraced all of those values, but be in no doubt Strathclyde is connected to the world and connected to the communities, the creeds and the colleagues that are involved in all of that. And for me, as presiding officer, it's a great honour to perform the capping ceremony. This exercise is simple, but it is based on an ancient ritual, rooted variously in China of some 2,000 years ago, or more recently in the Middle East, marking transitioning from childhood to adulthood. And for each of you, when the cap touched your head, it was a formal acknowledgement of your work. It recognised the days spent in lecture theatres, in workshops, the nights in the library, and of course, ultimately, the passing of your examinations. Thomas Edison, the famous American inventor and industrialist, said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. I'm sure for all of you, the percentages might have been more in the favour of genius and inspiration, but the message is clear. If you mark up your know-how, your intellect with very hard work and application, then you can achieve great things, just as Chris told us, inspiration in a rapidly changing world. And today, you've become part of the Strathclyde alumni family, and you're the latest torchbearers through many generations of graduates before you. And of course, Strathclyde graduates are some of the most highly sought after by business here in the UK and beyond, including Rolls-Royce, Weir, Babcock, BP, Siemens, GSK, AstraZeneca, and many others. And of course, many of you will go on to creating your own business, to becoming your own leaders, as it were, and you can be innovators, entrepreneurs and leaders in these large organisations too, and we would be most encouraging of that. And with reference to our corporate partners, you may be interested to know that in a recent survey, Strathclyde was positioned in the top 5 UK universities to have produced the highest number of chief executives, which is an interesting statistic. And now, with all that you've successfully come through, I know that you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the support and encouragement of your families and friends. It's entirely fitting that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates, and indeed the university at large, owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. As the first in my own family to have gone to university, as it happens here at Strathclyde, I know the importance of that support directly. And I'm sure that today's graduates and our university staff would like to take this opportunity to give a big thank you to the families, friends and supporters for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. Sir Isaac Newton, famous physicist, said, and I quote, that if I have seen further, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. And there is no doubt, graduates now, that your families and friends and your academic colleagues have provided their shoulders for you to stand on. And for our academic staff too, this is a very important day, because ultimately your success is their reward. And Strathclyde has worked very hard to provide you with a high-quality education and an excellent student experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So let me now welcome our new graduates to join with me in thanking our staff for all that they've done to support you in your journey and your achievements. Colleagues, thank you. You should be aware that our university was established in 1796. So this year we celebrate our 220th anniversary. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to its founding principles. We were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. And it's also worth noting that we were the only Scottish higher education institution to be established during the Scottish Enlightenment, a real distinction for Strathclyde in that white-hot heat of challenge, change. It might not have been changing quite at the same rate as Moore's Law and doubling of computing power and entrepreneurial opportunity, but it was a very similar challenging environment. And here we are again, Strathclyde driving forward the modern version of our strategy in that same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant for the 21st century. Our founder, Professor John Anderson, who was a physicist or natural philosopher, had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the American inventor and academic. And Franklin was one of the founding fathers of the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, establishing that place under the banner of useful knowledge. And the exchanges between Anderson and Franklin inspired some of that thinking, along with the great philosophers and scientists of the Enlightenment. And we developed our motto at that time of useful learning. That's something that defines what we're about, and it was been driving us for some 200 years or so. And the motto is known by all of our staff and students, and it still defines our purpose as a leading international technological university. Because across our campus, and in the buildings that you will have passed today on the way to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight disease and illness. For example, we currently have 3 drugs en route to clinical trials, and one of our spin-outs, Myronid, had a multi-million-pound fundraise earlier on this year to support the development of drugs tackling degenerative kidney disease, cancer and inflammatory disease. Strathclyde is also producing energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We are revolutionising the world of global manufacturing and helping the 4th industrial revolution to come into being, the so-called Industry 4.0. And our students continue their work in sub-Saharan Africa, trying to establish water and power and communication systems and to deploy healthcare systems for remote communities. Our students and staff are bringing prosthetic limb technology to bear in those in need in India. And many are working to inform public policy and national economic strategy. Very importantly, they are providing people with the opportunities to transform their lives and the lives of their families. And as I referenced earlier, Strathclyde still attracts many first-generation students into our university. And finally, we're giving business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative, to promote economic growth, and to create jobs and provide for us all a quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. And these are some of the reasons that we've had a terrific sequence of independent recognition over the past 3 or 4 years. We've won the Times Higher Education plaudits. We had the UK Research Project of the Year. We were named the UK University of the Year, and hot on the heels of that, principally down to the work we've done through the Business School and Entrepreneurship and Innovation, we were named the UK Entrepreneurial University of the Year, a quote that felt quite snug for us, actually. We recognised ourselves in the description. And with regard, of course, to the latest teaching quality assessment, we were delighted to have achieved the highest possible rating for our teaching methods and our teaching quality, an acknowledgement of our commitment to provide our students with the best education and experience. And in the most recent National Research Quality Assessment, we were pleased with the outcomes, although never satisfied. We keep on pushing for bigger and better things. But they confirmed that Strathclyde has the #1 physics department in the UK, #4 in chemistry, #4 in pharmacy and biomedical sciences. 7 of our 8 engineering departments are in the top 10 in the UK, 3 in the top 3. Our business school is #1 in the UK for research environment, #6 for research intensity. And in humanities and social sciences, a fantastic vehicle for us to have an impact on people's lives, our government and public policy department, #2 in Scotland, 10 in the UK, and we had excellent results in law, social work and social policy, and in history. So Strathclyde continues to develop and demonstrate its disproportionate impact on society and economy, principally because of the production of all of you. That's where we make our biggest impacts, our graduates, those of you who come through, master's programmes, PhD programmes. But we underpin that teaching with world-class research and also the highly effective ways that we've created of translating our research into impact and exploitation. And these are some of the reasons that Strathclyde, along with our sister institutions in Scotland, demonstrate that the Scottish higher education sector is not only punching above its weight, but it's acting as a major driver for sustainable economic growth, and Strathclyde has a distinct role in all of this. Universities have to be seen as a national investment, not a cost, because for every pound that the Scottish Government puts into higher education, we deliver almost £7 back in value for the Scottish economy. In an independent review of the University of Strathclyde, we were expected to deliver some £1.5 billion of value to the Scottish economy over the next 5 years. We are one of the highest contributors in the sector. And examples of that, just last July, we had the honour of having Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh here on the campus to open our Technology and Innovation Centre. It's just down off George Street and bordered by Ingram Street and Albion Street. That's a major investment in translating and transforming the way that business, industry, academia and the public sector work together. We're working there in pharmaceutical manufacturing, applied photonics, plasma physics, space technology, informatics, future cities, energy technology and aerospace engineering. Edison called his team and his laboratories his inventions factory. The TIC building is for sure our innovations factory. And certainly the achievements of the Strathclyde Business School over the past year gives me great confidence for the future, and I've had to significantly edit back the great achievements of David Hillier's faculty. But let me tell you one or two of the highlights. The Business School became the first in Scotland to receive the prestigious Small Business Charter Gold Award, just one of 5 in the UK at that level, recognising our support for scaling Scottish firms through innovation, internationalisation and leadership. Our Growth Advantage programme, run by the Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship, under the direction of Eleanor Shaw, who you heard from earlier on, collaborates with Santander in delivering this, along with input from Sir Tom Hunter and his team. And we're now into our 2nd year of that programme. And the programme has been developed for business that targets scale-up, and also it's been highly impactful for participants. This year sees the Business School mark 50 years of the full-time MBA and 40 years of the part-time MBA and 20 years of our centre in Switzerland. And we received a milestone award from AMBA one of the international accreditation groups, earlier this year to mark our 50th anniversary in front of an international audience. Our MBA was also ranked amongst the top European business schools by the Financial Times, which also ranked our full-time MBA in the top 20 in Europe, the top 10 in the UK, and the significant number 1 in Scotland. And this year also we celebrated our 40th anniversary of the Fraser of Allender Institute. We marked this in February at a special event at the Scottish Parliament, and the Fraser is again carving out very clear ground of being recognised as the leading independent source of analysis, and at times critical analysis of the economy, the impacts, and of course Brexit and the fiscal implications of the Scottish increased tax powers and autonomy. And the director there, Graham Roy, who I took out of Scottish Government earlier this year, he was Nicola Sturgeon's Director of Policy. Graham is now having a look at what the decision in the United States might mean for the Scottish and the UK economy. So that's going to keep him awake at night for the next few months. And our Accounting and Finance Department was ranked number 1 in the UK in the Complete University Guide for the 3rd year running. And we also rose 6 places, taking 2nd ranking for hospitality, leisure, recreation and tourism. So, I could go on but mustn't. Suffice to say, the business school is knocking the ball out of the park, and it's in this exciting context in which you should see your awards today. You are now graduates of a university that places students at the heart of all that we do, that values education and research excellence, and that supports close connections with society at large and the business world. And of course, universities such as ours thrive best in the international stage. The world's best universities work through collaboration. And on the international stage, we work, for example, in the United States with Stanford. The President Emeritus, John Hennessy, will be joining Chris as one of our latest honorary graduates. Stanford will be here today, picking up an honorary degree. We work with MIT intimately, New York University. In China, it's Tsinghua University and Peking universities. Arguably 1 and 2, they tend to vie with each other on that one. And the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And in Singapore, we have deep relationships with Nanyang Technological University and the National University of Singapore, as well as a raft of long-standing, and we expect to continue, strong relationships across Europe. Well, that's the Technical University of Berlin, Politecnico di Milano, the Danish technical universities, École de Mines. The European community will continue, regardless of some of the uncertainties that we face in the next couple of years. But of course, our students benefit directly from being part of an international university. This helps them emerge with the skills necessary to help Scotland play its full part in the world. And our students have been exposed to traditions and cultures as we attract students from over 100 countries. But most importantly, you're leaving today understanding your obligations as global citizens. And as well as working on the international stage, we take our local responsibilities very seriously. I chair the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board that is looking to drive and transform the Glasgow economy on new industrial drivers in life sciences, advanced engineering and design, low-carbon energy, as well as finance and business. And we remain, with some pride, and this is important for you to understand the DNA of your institution, amongst the research intensives in Scotland, we have the highest number of people that come from some of the most underprivileged backgrounds in Scotland. This year alone, we've attracted almost 1,000 students. This boy's desperate to get a degree, I've got to tell you. Is my cap there? I thought the big scary man with the cloak might help there. But let me characterise our university. Apart from being a welcoming, inclusive and tolerant institution, we also have great ambition, focus and momentum with the agility and commitment for the delivery of our strategy. And that's important. Flexibility, ambition, as well as having the intellect and the confidence to deliver in these very challenging times. But let me conclude by saying it's an outstanding privilege for me to lead this great institution with the great support I get from my executive team, as well as our broader community of academics, professional services staff and support staff. And I have a very confident vision that our founder, John Anderson, would recognise precisely what we are doing today as the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. And we seek now to establish in our modern society an agency for positive change here in Glasgow, Scotland, the UK and the wider world. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm certain that today's graduates, facing the challenges of Brexit, about the momentous decision made in the American elections, the challenges we have on climate change, about social disparity and the need to build economies. This is a challenge for all of us, but all of you that are graduating today, you are part of the solution. Whether you will be entrepreneurs, enterprising agents, whether you start your own business, work in large organisations. We're delighted today, for example, to see the cohorts that were graduating from the Weir MBA programme and the Babcock programme change the world, because you will be at the sharp end of thinking your way through these challenges. And in that context, all of you can become a vintage year for 2016. And in this context, and as you leave the hall today, you leave not only with an award, but a responsibility. You heard Eleanor refer to the fact that you're joining a community of almost 170,000 alumni. So whatever you do with your degree and whatever you might choose to work on, remember that as well as academic scholarship, useful learning also means applying your knowledge for the benefit of others, making a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to, respecting diversity, valuing freedom of expression and thought, and ultimately reaching conclusions and resolving dispute by reason. These characterise the core values of your university. And finally, on today's celebration, we are all here to mark the achievements of those who have been awarded their degrees, and on behalf of the university, I would like to extend a sincere congratulations to every one of you. Wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us, let us know how you're progressing, and well done to you again, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much indeed for your patience. I hope you enjoyed today as much as we do. These are the highlights in our calendar. Many congratulations again to our new Strathclyde graduates. At the end of the ceremony, which I'm about to close, we will process. I think the weather is still reasonable enough for us to go over to the Lord Todd Hall, where you're all cordially invited to join us for refreshment and a chat, perhaps. So with that, let me say well done again, and let me formally declare the congregation closed. Thank you very much indeed.